Hello, this is Bill Claudsey jumping into an Amonkhet competitive league draft. This is the week before the Pro Tour. Maybe we'll find some people practicing for that. 6 rounds of draft in the Pro Tour. If you make both days, just 1 draft a day. The rest is boring, standard. We open an exciting one though. Glyph Keeper. It's so hard to play around this like Frost Titan or Great Glass Spinner effect that counters the first thing that targets it each turn. Just be careful trying to enchant it with anything because it'll fall off. But this is just a straight bomb. It's already pretty ridiculous, 5 mana 5/3 dragon thing, and you get to embalm it back later if it trades or dies. So easy pick here, just miles ahead of everything else. The other good cards here, Vizier Tumbling Sands, Emberhorn Minotaur, and Magma Spray stand out. I guess Gust Walker is up there too. But we are happy to take a Glyph Keeper, get that slotted in at the 5-drop. We'll see if we recognize anyone here. Not so far. Close that up. Alright, there's Ancient Crab, and I do love a crab, good in a Flyers deck. But we can kind of pass that here for an Enigma Drake. We're already pretty committed to blue. The Glyph Keeper works especially well in blue-white, but not enough better than blue-red to pass something like Enigma Drake. If we really wanted to take a blue card, I'm not even sure what's better between the Oracle and the Crab. Probably the Oracle. The Skirmisher has some upside if you do get some token synergies or embalm synergies, but the Enigma Drake has a high enough payoff that I'm going to take that here over anything else. And if we get lucky and get past some good stuff, then we're in excellent shape. Alright, getting a 3rd pick, Gust Walker, is a bit of a sign, and a True Heart Duelist. So it is possible white is open, but both of those are kind of weaker than the Labyrinth Guardian. No good red card in this pack. But I'm happy enough just taking another blue card. It does cut the color, and maybe it has some embalm synergies if we get in that direction. Alright, and blue not strongly in this pack. Neither is red, although I suppose we could take Nefkrop and Tangler. We're really looking for the red removal spells and things. We could take Cartouche of Ambition, but it just falls off both of our blue cards, so that doesn't really make too much sense. Scattered Groves, or just a Fan Bearer. Not an amazing pack for us, to be honest, but a Fan Bearer does just work really well in any white-blue deck. I think I like it a little more than Vizier of Deferment in general. Oh wow. So, kind of didn't make it on the Enigma Drake front, but Aven Windguide is perfect. This works with all our embalm creatures. It doesn't even need to target them for its ability to work out vigilance and flying to any creature we bring back. And it's just miles ahead of every other card in this pack as well, so we're on the right track. Here, back to Mortality, we don't have super strong cards except Synchronized Strike. Is really good in like a red-green or green-white deck with Exert creatures. It's just a solid card. Floodwaters might be the best card for us, and I'll just go ahead and take it here. Floodwaters, it's probably just better than it looks. It's no Sea God's Revenge, but the cycling is some upside there. River Serpent, Supply Caravan, and just a good old hieroglyphic illumination. The Supply Caravan is kind of cool. This card is especially playable if you have something like Oketra's Monument to double up on your tokens and get a tapped creature. Most of our guys will have Vigilance. It's unclear what the real pick is here, but the Illumination at least is just playable in any blue deck. We don't really have a cycling theme going, but I guess the River Serpent's always fine too. Yeah, in that case it might have been better to just take the River Serpent if we knew we'd get another hieroglyphic illumination. There's also a Tormenting Voice here, so if white turns out not to be open, that could be an option, but in that case I'd probably still rather just have a second illumination. Even if it looks like you're getting heavy 4-drops, you always have the option of throwing this away for 1. Sacred Excavation. Maybe this is decent in the deck we end up in. Decision Paralysis, these are a dime a dozen, and we already have a Floodwaters, which is similar, so we'll see if that works out. Alright, Faith of the Devoted comes back. We've got Naga Oracle, which could also be good. It does get cyclers into the graveyard, it does get embalmed creatures into the graveyard. Usually you just want to play them out. Faith, we have some cyclers. I'm not really excited about this card, but if we open something ridiculous like Archfiend of Ifnir, it might be nice to have access to it. Yeah, and we see Wander in Death, but Anointer Priest is more aligned with our plan A here, which is kind of a token strategy. Stinging Shot and Tormenting Voice. I don't love the Slither Blade, even if we are kind of defensive and we can attack with this thing. The shot is really just a hedge against playing against the deck that takes it, but the Tormenting Voice actually has some good value if we somehow end up in red-blue. Alright, well, that does pull us towards red-blue, the Deem Worthy. There's also Cartouche of Knowledge. Always be happy to play this. Deem Worthy is enough better. Ooh, there's also Trueheart Duelist. The white cards did kind of dry up in pack 1, to be fair. And we did get this late Tormenting Voice. I'm really tempted by the Deem Worthy here. We could just take the Trueheart Duelist because it does work well enough with what we have. I mean, it is significantly worse than Deem Worthy, though. And it did feel like red was more open than white, at least late in pack 1. Ah, it's so close. Alright, gotta go with the Deem Worthy. And Lay Claim is fine, although at this point, if we are kind of going into red-white, Magma Spray is just a solid pick. Kefnit's Monument is not great. Yeah, Lay Claim is expensive. We have other stuff that does almost as good of a job clearing the way. So I'm going to go with the Magma Spray here. Trial of Knowledge versus Shimmerscale Drake. The Trial's fine. We already have cards that are very similar to the Trial. And we just need a flyer, so given that we're almost certainly playing blue, let's take this guy and passing Channeler Initiate, which is great. But yeah, can't be sad about Shimmerscale Drake. Yeah, Censor. I have a lot of respect for this card. It's going to work in a spells deck because we just get to cycle it and put another spell in our graveyard. Lay Claim, shoot, this is the second one we've seen, maybe one even wheels if no one's into blue. And I love the Force Spike effect, so that is going to be it. We don't have much else to do on turn 2 anyway, so holding this up is a solid option. Oh, come on, where's the blue? Here we have basically an option between Renewed Faith and Nefkrop Entangler. Sacred Cat would be okay if we really went into a token theme. It might be better than Renewed Faith. Onward to Victory, yeah. Nefkrop Entangler is just fine, but not exciting. If we go into Jeskai somehow, then who knows. I guess Scribe of the Mindful could be fine if we're getting back something like Deem Worthy or Floodwaters, or going for serious value, get back Sacred Excavation. but I'm not usually excited about that card. And some of our white cards are decent on the splash. You probably wouldn't put in Anointer Priest, but you could splash Fanbearer, certainly. Alright, Fling. We don't really have the powerful creatures to justify Fling, but Desert Ceradon is going to be fine. Okay, cancel. Yeah, you need something that can do this. If you have any ways to bounce creatures, then counter magic gets a lot better. Brute strength is not really what I'm looking for at this point. Maybe compelling argument. And second Floodwaters versus another Ceradon. I could play 2 Floodwaters. Winds of Rebuke, undervalued. We need some more things like Enigma Drake or the Minotaur, but milling yourself is an upside in a spells deck where getting some more spells into your graveyard randomly can help out. The Kenra, not usually a card you're looking for, but it does get better in the spells deck. The third Floodwaters or Honed Kopesh? I think we just take the Floodwaters. So right now, I mean, we do have some serious power here with the Glyph Keeper. And we have a couple notable cards besides that, but that's really all we have. Oh, here we go. Commit to Memory, just kind of the perfect card for this deck. There's, yeah, Electrify, which is close, if not better. But I'm going to go with the Commit to Memory. If we draw too many cards, we can even throw off the memory just to stop from milling ourselves. And yeah, the Commit half deals with something better than Electrify a lot of the time. They are both good. Okay, another Winds of Rebuke. There's Evolving Wilds, which helps splash something like Aven Wind Guide, and just an Aven Initiate, which does a pretty good job by itself to get in there for some damage. Yeah, I guess we'll go with the Initiate. We don't really need to splash white to be a powerful deck. We do need to pick up a few more cards to play, though. Pursue Glory is an option, but you know, it does the same thing that Floodwaters does, since we won't really get the option to cast it too often. So we're looking for some more like control or removal cards. Naga Oracle's gonna fill that role pretty well. It's just not exciting. Oh wow. It's a cool looking pack. We've got Hapatra. Someone will be happy to get that. And Cradle of the Accursed, which is also fine. And Heckma Sentinels. Just as a creature to, you know, gum up the ground a bit and dissuade opponents from attacking, we can take the Sentinels here. Minotaur Sure Shot versus Tawcrop Skirmisher. There's a few good white and blue cards in this pack, but it looks like we're set up to be more red, and the Sure Shot's great. Oh, thank goodness. We pick up another Enigma Drake pretty late here, and that's going to take our deck from being a pretty below average deck to like a pretty good one. We also have another Aven Wind Guide, so sometimes you're really split between two decks. Okay, so we could take Evolving Wilds. We could take the Wind Guide, but I'm not that interested in splashing it. Or we could get behind one of these Ancient Crabs, and that's what I'm going to do. This guy's kind of undervalued, and it's exactly what our deck's trying to do. Just sit back, let the flyers do the work. Right, Necrop Entangler is not really what we want. But I'll take another Ancient Crab, sure. Somehow Evolving Wilds is wheeled, and we've got Winds of Rebuke. That's got to be close. I'm not even sure what we want here. We only have one counterspell, but yeah, and we're two colors. We don't really need the Evolving Wilds, but we also have plenty of playables. I'll just take the land. Is that what we ended up taking there? No, we took the winds. That's probably a better pick there. I like this land a lot. So very late supernatural stamina. Underrated trick. It really does a lot of work. Just not for us. So we need some cuts out of this. We could just put in Nimble Blade Kenra to try to do something early. It's possible we cut a Hieroglyphic Illuminations, but I don't really love that either. And we also probably want to play 17 lands. So I'll cut one Floodwaters. It's just a lot of Floodwaters, and I'd rather play like the third Illuminations than the second Floodwaters. Desert Ceradon is a fine way to just kill your opponent in the late game. Heckma Sentinels doesn't really have a place in this deck. We're not discarding cards so often. So Ancient Crabs are just going to do a better job. And the Sure Shot. So we've got some flyers, we've got some powerful creatures, some ways to clear the board a bit. Tormenting Voice and a lot of card draw to keep going and fuel our graveyard for these Enigma Drakes. It's not the best version of this deck I've ever seen, but it looks solid. So 18-7, we're considerably more blue here, but not by that much. 10-7. Yeah, a quarter of our deck being islands probably does well. We have 3 double blue cards on turn 3. I think we'll be able to get there. It would have been nice to have one of those Evolving Wilds, especially since we're playing 17 lands. But yeah, besides those few complaints, this looks like a powerful deck with some bombs and consistency. I'll see you in the matches.